Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm a psychic and a medium. My name is Susan Lynn, and I'm going to be talking to my spirit guides about these political questions that you guys have given me. Thank you so much. I know it's been a few days. I did do some other videos. If you're new here, the Susan part of this equation that's about to happen is 40%, and the spiritual part of the equation is 60%. Let me get started. Sharika says, how is Lance Kunce doing in his run against Josh Hawley for Senate in the Missouri race? Again, we have this amazing energy from Kamala Harris, which lifts the tide, lifts all boats, and she's a tsunami. So I think Lance Kunce is going to do very well. I think he's going to win. They just told me he's going to win. Again, we're 3 months out or something. I don't know. Anything can happen if Lance continues his trajectory. If he doesn't do something stupid, because we all have free will. I'm not saying he will. I'm just, for some reason, they're telling me to say this so you can understand. He might misspeak. He might have some kind of trip himself up, which would be unfortunate. But if he doesn't do that, his trajectory looks like he's going to win. Let's go to the next one. Is Barbara Corso. Will there be deprogramming clinics for Trumpsters? And if so, will they be like minute clinics? Will insurance cover? I've actually predicted this years ago. I talked about this, and they're telling me again, Depelchin. Every time I talk about it, they say the word Depelchin. Depelchin is a company that I think does foster care, or maybe they do treatment centers. I don't know. But they must have like a government contract, because every time I talk about this, they tell me Depelchin. But anyway, I saw that. I saw treatment centers to kind of deprogram people. I did see the government paying for, like, I could see the government saying, if you sign up for this and then for the next 6 months, we're going to pay for it. Like, it's not forever. Like, there's a timeline. And if you sign up for it after that, we will maybe pay for some of it. But yes, I do see that. And I do see them. They just now told me they're residential, so you can actually live there. And there might be job training. I mean, literally, like, get these people back to being productive members of society, right? Because a lot of these people, especially the ones that have really, really bought into this, have been ostracized by their family. They may have been ostracized by their community. Their business might have evaporated, because that word is so important, that word evaporate. Because you know what they showed me when I said this? They showed me those stores that have all the Let's Go Brandon, or what all the 45 MAGA stuff. You know, they have whole shops and online businesses that have been making their money based on these things. Their business is going to evaporate. And when their business evaporates, because it is, right now it's evaporating, because I can't explain it. I'm just telling you, people are going to switch to Kamala. They just are. Look, you can't explain these things, but their business is going to evaporate. They're going to start losing their house. They're going to start losing whatever it is that they like, their car, they can't pay their bills. They're going to crash and burn, and they're going to need help. And this is really going to be an opportunity for us to help them. And I'll just say that when I began my major spiritual awakening, I don't even know when that was, but it was before the pandemic. It was probably like 2018 or 16. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. The spirit guides told me, they showed me these people coming to me, like my back was turned to them. Okay. So they were behind me, and I was asked to turn around, and I turned around and I saw these people come to me, and they said, we've lost everything. We've been ostracized. I need help. I need help. Will you help me? And the spirit guides told me, you must be compassionate to them. This is your role. Your role, humans' roles, is to be compassionate to help them, right? So yes, this is us being compassionate to them. There will be deprogramming clinics. And they just showed me this might actually spread throughout the world with deprogramming clinics for people that have gotten into like Nazi or fascism. So skinheads, different things like that. You might find that like there's a question here somewhere about the violence that happened in Britain. I think it was Britain with the stabbings. There might be a situation where if you do some sort of violent act, one of your options is to go into this deprogramming clinic where you learn compassion, where you learn to love yourself, where you are separated from that hate and that vile kind of energy. So it might be an option like go to jail or go to the deprogramming clinic. That might also be something. Hopefully that all made sense. Alfie says, with the change of the entrance of Harris, do you still see Mike Johnson leaving as head of Congress before November? That's really interesting. I did see him leaving the speaker role before November in the past. I've seen that. But right now they keep saying no. And they're saying it in a way that's very stern. Like when I'm eating donuts and they say no. Anyway, not of his own volition. Okay, not of his own volition. So when you're doing these things, you can go into the energy of Mike Johnson and he's saying no. But then let me move out of that energy and look at it from a different angle, right? Because then they said not of his own volition. So could he be voted out? Oh, right. That is so fascinating. Do you know that guy? I see his face. Sometimes they show me pictures and no names. McCarthy. Isn't that his name? The other speaker from California. You know how those two have been feuding? And McCarthy, isn't that his name? Anyway, the old speaker that they voted out, he still has it in for Mike Johnson. He's still trying to throw him out or whatever he's trying to do. So there's still things happening behind the scenes. There could be a coup, another dismantling, deplatforming. I don't know what the word is, but it starts with a D. But yeah, I think Mike says no, but there's energies that want to see him gone. It could be after the election, though. It could be November. It could be mid to late November. Well, after the election, he's going to be gone because we're going to be, but we don't take over the House immediately, right? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying mid-November, he's gone. That's what I think right now. Let me move on. Radioactive Channel 06 says, what does the future hold for the LGBTQ plus community? Well, it's rocky. I hate to tell you that, but it is rocky. This community is going to do better in a lot of ways, in a lot of cities, in a lot of it's really geographic is what they're trying to say. Okay, so if you're in a little bit more of a purple city, it's going to get better. If you're in a red city, it could get worse. There are some factions in the red cities that even though Kamala Harris is like changing hearts and minds and the whole country is holding hands and singing Kumbaya, there's going to be some little factions of hate and vileness, the guides are saying. So if you're in a really deep red place, you might actually experience a backlash. So I really do think, you guys, that at some point we need to consider moving to a place that better supports us. I know people always tell me I could never move. I could never. Just get never out of your mouth. Just stop saying never. Just don't say it. Because when have things happened to you that were so surprising that you said, I never thought that would happen. Okay. So let's instead say, Spirit, I would like to be surrounded by people that support me and love me. I would like to feel safe. I would like to feel like I'm surrounded by like-minded people. Please help me find that place. I'm open to being guided to that place. So anything in your life If you can just start telling yourself, I'm open to being guided, I'm open for change, surprise and delight me, in a good way. So some of us that are being affected, like me in Texas, like I'm being affected because I feel like I'm behind enemy lines, literally. And it just gets exhausting. It really gets exhausting after a while. And I'm ready to move on to a place where I feel like I don't have to worry about being liberal. So I do think overall, it's better. The energy is better for LGBTQ plus, but I think with increased visibility, especially around trans issues, you're going to have a backlash. So it's rocky. All I can say is it's rocky up and down. Okay. Take really good care of yourself. That's what I would say. That's the most important thing. And hopefully that doesn't mean hiding, right? Like I don't want anybody to feel like they have to hide, but I know I had trans clients that had to hide because they lived in some red community that would be very violent or, hurtful to them. So I'm sorry that you would have to hide. Just take really good care of yourself and ask Spirit to help you find a better place, no matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter if you're in a situation where you just feel like you're uncomfortable in that town or uncomfortable in that relationship or uncomfortable in that job. Ask for help. Then try to be as open as possible to anything that comes, because the help is going to come out of the blue, because the same things you've been trying to deal with the situation or fix the situation hasn't worked. So the solution is going to come out of left field. So be especially open to any suggestions or any guidance or any help that seems like it's out of left field. Okay, let me move on. Rakavasos says, will the Democrat Ruben Gallego, I don't know how to say Ruben's name. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Please correct me. Win in Arizona over Kerry Lake in the Senate race? And the answer is yes. I think he is going to win. Yeah, I'm smiling. I think his energy is so nice. Yeah, he's going to win. I mean, she's going to do crazy things. Don't get me wrong. And when she does, we will be able to mirror them back to the populace. And because the populace is now awake, blinders off, we're going to go, what? I mean, just everybody. It's like all those ghost voters that the guides always talk about, all those undecided voters, all those voters that are too busy to be concerned about politics. They're all paying attention because there's a hot, cool new president-elect. And they're all paying attention. And now they're going to be like, that woman is, what's the word they just used? Wank, crank, some hip word. I don't even know. Cronk. I don't even know. They called her something, but anyway, she crazy. That's what I would translate that into crazy. So yeah, he's going to win. Let's move on. At Lily says, will Liz Cheney enter the fray at any point, or will she sit this one out? Look at me say that without being triggered. Let me just take this opportunity as a public service announcement to say, Liz Cheney is not our friend. Liz Cheney is not a patriot. And do never, ever, ever vote for Liz Cheney. How many times do I have to tell you, Democrats, please, for the love of God, she voted for Trump, with Trump, over 90% of the time. She's not us. She's not moderate. Okay, now that I've said my public service announcement, I always saw her. I did a video called The End of the Republican Party last year. So this predicted this a year ago. And I saw her, because I'm so visual, I saw this, imagine a house that's burned to the ground and there's just like charred embers, you know what I mean? And I see Liz Cheney walking through the charred embers with her boots on, and the toe of her boot is like kicking like the embers, like to make sure that it's all really burned down. You know what I mean? That's the Republican Party. She's waiting for the Republican Party to burn itself down. When she's sure that it's burned down, she will take over the party. She's already moved out of Wyoming into a more, kind of a more contested state, or even more of a purple blue state. I totally see her running for office in soon, like 2 years maybe, or depending. She will even move again. She'll cherry pick her state and move again to secure that Senate seat. She will definitely, and she might be going for the House actually for some reason. But anyway, she'll do it. She will do it. So what the guide said a year ago and more was that 2 options: either the Republican Party splits in 2 and the MAGAs have their wing and she has her wing, or the whole thing crashes and burns and she takes over the Republican Party. So she's going to sit this out and see which is going to happen. And then she's going to either A, start her own version of the Republican Party, or B, take over the Republican Party. And do not count this woman out. She's sly like a snake. So she could run for office and then pretend to be, oh, I'm just a supporter. I'm just here to support. I'm not trying. She has a plan, you guys. Even though she might act like, oh, I could never be the leader. That's her plan. That's how she's going to become the leader right there. So let me move on. Karen Ettinger says, what is Erik Prince's role in the coup 45 is planning with, I guess what you're saying is with the election. I remember when he was meeting some people in the Seychelles, and there's never any mention of him now. No, I mean, he's always going to be in the dark. He's always going to be in the shadows. That's the interesting thing about the Federalist Society, because in Harlan Crow always wanted to be in the dark. He always wanted to be operating behind the scenes. When he became public, that's when he got upset, because now everybody's watching him. So they don't want to be in the sunlight. They want to operate under cover of darkness. That's what Erik Prince is doing. He can't be, what the guides are saying is he cannot be effective if people are watching him. So the question is, does he have a role? His role is international. He's not doing anything in the United States. Well, I take that back. What is he doing? Wait a minute. Okay. The United States part of what you're talking about is a lot of legal maneuvering. There is some dirt. There is some behind the scenes, like disinformation and compromat and dirt that's being, oh, yeah, that's right, on Vance. I think why is that connected to Erik Prince? Okay, I see. Because I said international, and then when I went into the international energy, I went back to the United States. Anyway, it's a long story. So, okay. So yeah, Prince might be involved, not directly, but involved in some dirt that might be appearing about Vance that causes Vance to step down. Okay? That is loosely involved in what you're asking here. Okay. But Prince is very involved right now in international affairs. I'm going to say this because I don't think it's going to get me in trouble, but we'll see. There's something to do with a diamond mine that he might be involved in. He's doing bad things. That's all I can tell you. But when it comes to the United States, he's a bad actor, but he's not directly. Because you know why? Because they just told me Interpol, which is look, Google it, guys. Anyway, it's a international police or spy or some kind of agency. He is either wanted or being watched by Interpol, so he cannot go to he has to be careful. Let's just put it that way. So he's not, again, that's what they said in the very beginning of your question. He has to be unobserved. And they're saying it again. Interpol is watching him. He cannot be in the daylight. He needs to be under cover of darkness. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, I'm channeling. I don't know what I'm talking about. FSU 4031 says, is Nikki Haley going to replace Donald or Vance before November? You guys, I'll say it again. I said it at the beginning of the video. I see chaos. I see chaos. I see chaos. And I've seen chaos for 6 months regarding the Republican Party, regarding the actual vote. I see people writing in all kind of names, like Nikki, writing in Trump, writing in Jesus. I don't know who they're going to write in. These people are crazy. They could write in Hulk Hogan. I don't even know, right? It's going to be, I think it's going to be a write-in situation. And having been a person who's been an election judge in a write-in election, I can tell you that when you write in the name, it's got to be perfect. You cannot misspell the name. That disqualifies the vote. So if you think people are going to get Nikki, right? If you think these people are even going to be able to spell Trump, so it's just chaos. I don't see anybody replacing them. I really don't. I think right now my working, and I know other people have predicted that he's going to run, meaning flee, Trump. But I'm telling you guys, Trump has free will. And it depends on what is happening as to what his reaction to it is. Had Biden stayed in, he wasn't going to run. He had no reason to flee. He felt like he's got the courts sewn up. Cannon threw his case out. The fix is in, literally. Well, guess what? Now Biden's out and Kamala Harris is in. That changes everything, because now the crooked judges are like, oh, snap. They're over there trying to cover up their tracks. Not possible. And they know it. They know they cannot cover up their tracks. They were judgments. They literally ruled illegally. They know their goose is cooked. They're going to retire. They're going to step down. Cannon is going to step down. We've predicted this for a long time. She's got a golden parachute, meaning she's got a big fat job waiting for her somewhere that could pay her a lot of money, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. So you can understand that now Donald is like, oh, snap. My judges are all either becoming Kamala Harris fans, hey, girl, or they're retiring, or whatever's happening to them. Maybe they fall out a window. I don't know. He realizes he's got no support. His game plan is not working. So now he needs to come up with another game plan. His other game plan right now, I feel like is the strongest game plan that I can come up with, is that he's going to be Julian Assange. This is what the spirit guides tell me every single time. He's probably even going to say the name, because whenever I say things like this, I see it in the media. He's going to be president in exile. And it's going to feel so good. It's going to get him so much coverage. Poor me. He loves to be a victim. Poor me. I had to run away because it's unfair. And that nasty woman, you know how he calls her nasty. That nasty woman is going to come for me and lock me up, even though I didn't do anything wrong, right? Like that's going to be his, the money's going to flow to him because they love a victim. These white Trumpians see themselves as victims. They've bought into it. He's a victim. I'm a victim. What am I a victim of? Well, everybody gets stuff that I don't get. All those other people get stuff that I don't get. My life is terrible because of them. They can't stand in their own power. They're trying to find any person to blame for their own lack of power, perceived or real. So I think Donald could be in another country, and I think Vance is going to step down. Because when I go into that energy, I don't see Donald absconding to another country with Vance still being the VP, because guess what's going to happen? Vance is going to be like, I'm president. That's what the Republican Party, the establishment of Republican Party wanted. Donald was a figurehead. Donald was the money getter, the vote getter. Once Donald got the presidency, it wouldn't have been long before he was shuffled off the mortal coil, the mortal coil, falling out a window. Whatever that amendment is where your president is crazy and they got to stop down. Is it the 25th Amendment? I don't know. But they would get rid of him. Their plan was to have Vance be their man. But Vance is not popular, can't get the votes, can't get the money. So they need their vaudeville act to stay in so that they can win the presidency, and then Vance can be the president. But none of that's going to work, because now we have, I want to call her Hurricane Kamala. That's what I really want to call her, but I don't like hurricanes. So, but we have this force of nature that has changed everything. Everything, they flipped the table. Everything has changed. So now he has to come up with a new plan. He cannot win against her. He can't even debate her. So if he's a president in exile, that could be why the vote is delayed, for the simple reason that we don't know how to deal with this. Our Constitution doesn't have an amendment for, a crazy president runs away and hides, a crazy elected official or president candidate. And Donald has done this to us every single minute. He has challenged something in the Constitution that's either not clear or never been done before. So that we're like, well, that's gray. We don't really know about that. Or how do we deal with this? How do we feel about prosecuting a president, an ex-president, a future president? All these questions, we Americans don't even know the answers to these questions. We've never had to ask them before, because Nixon just stepped down and then Ford pardoned him. Problem solved, supposedly. Except for that gave us Trump. So hopefully that explains what's going to happen. I think the delay is not maybe because of all the court challenges. It could be that he lost his election, but he was in exile, and now he's going to say this election was fraudulent because I had to be in exile because of political asylum. Can you see how buggered up this is? Legally buggered up this is. It makes perfect sense for him, and he gets to play the victim card, and he gets to live in a consulate somewhere. Now, I did see all this before. I've talked about this. I've talked about all the options. I don't think any psychic that goes, it's going to be this way. I mean, there's very few things that are that set in stone. There are some, but there's very few things that are that set in stone. 95% of it is not. So I also saw, when I predicted this a year ago, that I saw a Saudi Arabian, like the person I saw was somebody who looked like MBS, who's the prince, holding this. It looked like he was holding Trump by his collar, like a mouse. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I found something. And the United States saying, no, 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 no. We're not playing it like that, right? So it could be that the country tries to give him back to us. And I'm not saying we're going to say, no, we don't want him back. What I heard them, the White House saying was, you have to go through diplomatic channels. I'm not going to do this on a backroom basis, because the way I saw it playing out was they called the bat phone in the White House directly. And the president said, no, 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 go through the diplomatic channels. I'm not doing this in a backroom secret thing. We're going to do it publicly. And so what? If the United States is humiliated, it's humiliated. We need to see the truth of what's happening. All of this is in the daylight. That's the difference, right? Erik Prince is in the dark. Trump is in the dark. Kamala is in the daylight, for everybody to see what's going on. I'm going to end this video with this, and I hope I got to answer a lot of your questions. I will try to do another video with even more of your questions, because I'm sure there's probably, well, there was like 300 comments, so who knows how many questions there really are. Let me know in the comments yourself of this video what you thought. If you have opinions or you want to share something with us, I would love to hear that. If you thought this video was helpful and you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you hit the bell notification, then you can be notified when I have a video. If you turn it off and say no notifications, then you won't be bothered by it. But a subscription is free. It really helps me, and it helps more people see the video. And I think as we go into this new energy, people are going to be looking for their questions to be answered. So the more people that see this video, maybe they get some answers. I don't know. Thanks so much for watching. Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again really soon. for entertainment purposes only. And there's one more in this series of My Spirit Guides Answer Your Political Questions. I'm not sure when it's going to be published, maybe on Sunday, but keep your eyes peeled for it. Some really interesting topics that you guys brought up for my spirit guides to answer. Thanks so much and take really good care of yourselves.